Released on May 24, 2025, Episode 8 of Kowloon Generic Romance arrives as the series, adapted from Jun Mayuzuki's manga, nears its climax in its 13-episode run. Set in the nostalgic, dystopian Kowloon walled city, this episode focuses on Reiko Kujirai's struggle with her identity and her evolving relationship with Hajime Kudo, framed against the unraveling mysteries of their phantom city. I found myself captivated by the promise of answers to the series' enigmatic questions, yet wary of whether the episode could balance its dense lore with the emotional intimacy that defines the show. Does it deliver the clarity and heart it seems to strive for? Following the lore-heavy revelations of Episode 7, where Reiko learned she cannot leave Kowloon without ceasing to exist and the city was revealed as a spectral replica, Episode 8 shifts toward emotional resolution. Reiko and Kudo finally act on their mutual attraction, cementing their relationship in a moment of vulnerability. Meanwhile, Yomei's investigation with Gwen uncovers that Kowloon is a ghost city, inhabited by copies of its former residents, tied to the Hebanuma Group's experiments. The episode ends with a chilling hint that Kudo's presence may anchor this illusory world, deepening the mystery of Reiko's existence. Episode 8 advances the narrative by confirming Kowloon's nature as a metaphysical construct, a replica sustained by nostalgia and possibly Kudo's emotional state. The revelation that residents like Reiko are phantoms or generics is a turning point, grounding earlier hints about her identity. The romantic culmination between Reiko and Kudo feels like a natural progression from their tension-filled dynamic, though it's framed as an impulsive act born of desperation rather than a traditional romantic climax. I think this choice enriches the story's complexity, but the pacing feels uneven, rushing through the intimate moment while lingering on expository dialogue about Kowloon's origins. The episode fulfills its role in the arc by resolving Reiko's immediate emotional conflict but raises new questions about Kudo's role in sustaining Kowloon, leaving me eager for more. Reiko and Kudo dominate the episode, with Reiko grappling with her non-human nature and Kudo wrestling with his unresolved grief over Kujirai B, his deceased fiancé. Reiko's determination to forge her own identity, distinct from Kujirai B, reveals a resilient spirit, though her reliance on Kudo's validation feels slightly regressive. Kudo's decision to embrace Reiko, despite seeing echoes of his past love, suggests a tentative step toward healing, but I'm concerned his motivations remain murky. Does he love Reiko or the memory she represents? Yomei's comedic reactions provide levity, but her role as an investigator alongside Gwen adds depth, showing her curiosity and loyalty. I really appreciate Gwen's pragmatic refusal to consume Kowloon's food, hinting at his awareness of the city's illusion. The characters' actions align with their established traits, though I wish Reiko's growth felt less tethered to Kudo. The episode explores themes of identity, nostalgia, and the tension between moving forward and clinging to the past. Reiko's struggle to define her absolute self as a generic reflects a universal quest for authenticity, while Kudo's attachment to Kowloon mirrors the human tendency to dwell in memories. The ghost city itself serves as a metaphor for how nostalgia can trap individuals in an inauthentic existence. I find the way the episode uses Reiko and Kudo's impulsive intimacy to highlight their shared denial, ignoring the nagging voice of doubt, particularly poignant. However, I don't think the theme of free will is fully realized, as Reiko's agency feels constrained by her circumstances. The episode significantly expands the lore, confirming Kowloon as a spectral third iteration tied to the Hebanuma Group's generic Terra experiments. The idea that only those with regret or nostalgia can perceive Kowloon is fascinating, though I'm frustrated by the lack of clarity on what resonates with generic Terra to sustain the city. The detail that outsiders like Yaomei can enter but risk disappearing adds a layer of existential dread, enriching the sci-fi mystery. I also anticipate that future episodes will clarify the Hebanuma Group's role, as their influence remains tantalizingly vague. The dialogue is a strength, blending witty banter with introspective moments. Reiko's plea to Kudo, "You told me not to go anywhere," is heartbreakingly raw, capturing her fear of non-existence. However, some expository lines about Kowloon's nature feel heavy-handed, disrupting the show's usual subtlety. The writing excels in conveying the character's emotional turmoil, but falters in integrating the lore seamlessly. I didn't like how the episode skipped the build-up to Reiko and Kudo's intimate moment, as it lessened the emotional weight compared to what I imagine the manga's pacing allows. Arvo Animation's work remains visually striking, with Kowloon's cramped, neon-lit alleys exuding a nostalgic yet eerie atmosphere. The character designs, faithful to Mayuzuki's manga, are expressive, particularly Reiko's wide-eyed vulnerability. However, I noticed the animation in emotional scenes lacks the fluidity of earlier episodes, with static shots that dull the impact of key moments. Yomei's exaggerated expressions, while humorous, clash with the episode's serious tone, which I found distracting. The visual metaphor of the goldfish eye lens in the ending sequence is is a brilliant nod to Reiko's trapped existence, though I wish the overall quality was more consistent. Yoshiaki Iwasaki's direction shines in quieter moments, like the close-up of Kudo's hand on Reiko's shoulder, which conveys intimacy and hesitation. The use of muted colors during flashbacks contrasts effectively with Kowloon's vibrant present, enhancing the nostalgic mood. This episode evoked a mix of melancholy, hope, and unease. The moment Reiko and Kudo embrace, driven by mutual desperation, is both tender and tragic, leaving me conflicted about their future. The revelation of Kowloon as a ghost city is chilling, prompting reflection on how memories shape reality. I found the cliffhanger, hinting at Kudo's role in sustaining Kowloon, particularly thought-provoking, though the rushed intimacy didn't fully resonate. The episode leaves a lasting impression, but I'm frustrated by its uneven execution, which tempers its emotional weight. The episode's core lesson is about the struggle to define oneself amidst an inauthentic reality. Reiko's quest to be her absolute self suggests that identity is not fixed but forged through choice and connection, even in a world that feels illusory. It's a meditation on embracing agency despite existential uncertainty, though I think the message would hit harder with more focus on Reiko's independence. Episode 8 of Kowloon Generic Romance is a compelling blend of romance, mystery, and existential dread, elevated by strong performances and a vivid setting. Its strengths lie in its thematic depth, atmospheric visuals, and the emotional complexity of Reiko and Kudo's relationship. However, I didn't like the uneven pacing and limited animation, which blunt the impact of key moments. The episode achieves its goal of advancing the plot and deepening the mystery, but falls short of perfection due to its rushed execution. I think it's a strong chapter in a promising series, and I anticipate that the remaining episodes will clarify Kowloon's secrets while giving Reiko the agency she deserves. For now, it's a haunting, imperfect step forward.